Hey, guess what? We're back here again, and hopefully we've got another titillating video for you. And guess what? This one is going to be about twin flames. Learn the power of proper communication. Whoa. Am I going to have fun with this one? And here's how I'm going to start off. Do any of you out there who consider yourself twin flames, do you recall when you were going through this wonderful thing I coined called the bubble love phase, and you were in that exalted state of consciousness? You talked for hours about anything and everything, and the flow was incredible, and you felt like you were in this little world all by yourself, and nothing else mattered. Nothing bothered you. It was just him and you, or him and him, or she and she, whatever. And everything was beautiful, and everything was wonderful. And this went on for hours. It went on for days, in some cases, and weeks, in some cases, and months, in some cases. You remember that? Communication didn't seem to be a problem. Do you remember the feeling that you had around you? Yeah. It was bliss-like. It was the most profound, deep, core experience you've probably had in your whole life. Remember that? And then all of a sudden, bang, down it comes. And then what happens is the proverbial hits the fan, and we're off into some kind of behavior between the two individuals that can only be described by the great mystics as being watching the antics of two 15-year-old kids in their first experience of puppy love, going nuts. That's about what it's like. And the beat goes on. So, having said that, let me repeat the title. Twin Flames. Learn the power of proper communication. And then, after that, what happens? Well, one of the things that happens is a lot of people, mostly the ladies and men, get on social media, and in some particular cases, they get into a twin flame group, and it starts. The complaining, the bitching, the whining that goes on. Oh, my twin flame is a real asshole. My twin flame is a real jerk. Oh, my twin flame's being a real bitch. What happened to the the bubble of, where the communication was ebbing and flowing and everything was happening. What happened to that? You've heard me say many times that that gave you the experience of what it can be like, what it could be like. So how did it degenerate into this chaos and disaster of communication that I see going on in social media, in Facebook, in twin flame groups, and even in comments that I get on some of my videos? How did it degenerate into that particular fiasco? And the comments about each other that goes on is incredible. And you'll actually see a few people trying to help some of these people. All right. And I see this all the time. As I mentioned before, I'm a member of a lot of twin flame groups. I don't comment much anymore in them, if at all. But I go in to see the general progress, and I mean that loosely defined general progress. It seems to be very limited because I continually see new twin flame groups going up. And they're not progressing any further than the ones that have been up there 3 or 4 years also, with the same whining and bitching and complaining that goes on. So I ask myself, what happened? Why is this continuing? And the obvious reason is there. When it comes to the twin flame connection after the bubble love phase, most of you refuse to act like adults with any sense of maturity. You want to act like a bunch of teenage kids. Stomp your feet, have temper tantrums, bang your fists on the wall, accuse, pick on, nitpick, bitch, whine, complain about what he or she is not doing. And suddenly you've lost all respect for each other. Any kind of nurturing or compassion from each other has gone right out the window. And it's his fault or her fault, or she did this and he did that. I've never heard of such childish antics coming from adults in bigger bodies. And it goes on and on and on. It never changes. So sit ye all down, and I'm going to give you a lesson in how to communicate with each other, and let's stop this fiddle-assing around that's going on. It's getting ridiculous in some of these twin flame groups. And it's getting ridiculous the way some of you are treating each other, calling it a separation phase and calling it this, and you've got all of these hotshot experts out there filling you with more and more bullshit all the time and making the situation worse. So I'm going to get down to some nitty-gritty in this video. I don't give a sweet fiddler's fart if it rubs some of you the wrong way. So, the first important point that I want to bring up is something that I brought up before in a video, and I'm going to keep repeating the stuff until it sinks in finally, and some of you start getting it, because there's no magic bullet, there's no miracle meditation, there's no magic healing that's going to take place. If you want it, you're going to work for it, and you're going to earn it. That's the first thing you need to learn. Okay? And there's a couple of rules that apply. And the very first rule, if you want to learn how to communicate, when you're going through all of this silliness that most of you are going through, when everything up there, when all the communication was flowing and ebbing, are wondering what the hell happened. And what the hell happened is one or both of you try to take control of the situation and bring it together based on all of your old relationship experience that you have. This is not worth a powder to blow at you, hell, and it's not working, so you better listen to what I have to say. And do this rule number 1, and most of you will find this is not possible for you. You can't do it. You refuse to. All right, and until you learn how to do this, you're not going to go anywhere in your twin flame connection. And it's this: Very simple. Simple works. Don't take it personally. I'll extrapolate on that for a minute. One of the things that I see, the classic mistake that twin flames are making in this twin flame connection is when you do come back to reality, and you will after the bubble love, what happens is, and I've mentioned this before, all of the impediments and blockages on both sides of the fence, he, she, or she, whatever, all right, are going to come out, and they're going to express, because the potential is there for the both people to actually have that situation to evolve into what you want is a relationship, but not on the terms that you have in your belief systems, either one of you. So what takes place is this. You get into it, he gets into it, and then we got a he said, she said going on, and emotions get involved with it, anger gets expressed, and this is what happens. And I want to emphasize this point so that you all understand this. When you do this type of heing and sheing, and nitpicking and whining and bitching and complaining, what you are doing is you have lost respect for the very experience and the gift that you have been given initially between the two people. You're acting like two alley cats fighting over a chicken bone in the backyard. And what you're doing is you're taking the power that the two of you generated of that third energy in the mystical experience, and you are focusing that power that you were gifted with now through all of this negative emotions and feelings and shit that is coming up to be eliminated from both of you. And the problem is, again, you've got so much people out there filling you full of horse shit about the twin flame connection. I'm going to give you some nuts and bolts as to, once more, do like a mathematician. Work it out with a pencil if you have to. All right? And the very first thing, which most of you are going to find almost an impossible challenge, is when the nitpicky starts between the two of you, don't take it personally. Understand what's going on. You are both expressing the impediments and blockages that are getting in the way of getting back to that euphoric state of mind when you were communicating beautifully. And everything was smooth. You were joined at the hip. Remember that? Don't take it personally. Because when you start expressing the nitpicking, the bitching, the whining, the complaining on both sides, you have been taking that power that you have achieved in the connection of both of you in the bubble love phase, and you're using the same power now in a destructive, negative, objectionary way and fashion. So you are literally making the situation worse than what it actually is. Stop doing that. Another thing that I see a lot of, and I want to just touch on this for a moment, is you go into a twin flame group, and I hope this video actually shows up in some twin flame groups if enough ladies up there who run these groups got enough balls to actually put it up. Here's another thing that I see. You go into a twin flame group, I'm not even going to name any of them, because it's in all of them. And you'll get one person will come in and put a post up, and what they're doing is bitching and whining, complaining about their twin flames not doing this, or he's doing that, or she's doing this. And then all of a sudden you get about 5 or 6 more ladies, in most cases, will jump on the same post and they'll start doing the same thing. They'll start whining and bitching and complaining about their twin flame, and all of a sudden you got about 9 or 10 people all on the same post, and they've taken the gift and the power of what they had in their twin flame connection, and they're adding it to the original post of what the woman was complaining or bitching, or it could be a man, all right, complaining about, and now you've created a thought form. Ladies, you are not getting this. Wake up. When you disrespect the very thing that brought you together in the first place, you are creating more of the same monster that you get in there about. Now, if any of you think I'm getting passionate and I'm getting really into this video, I am, because I'm tired of seeing this. I'm tired of seeing men and women, especially women, self-destructing themselves and the twin flame opportunity because they're getting the wrong information. They're not understanding what is needed in a particular situation, and they're not doing it in a fashion that's suitable. So, let me make a suggestion to you. May I? When you find your situation and your twin flame has come down from the bubble love phase, and you and he, or whatever combination there is not getting along, and you're getting into this he said, she said, remember number one, don't take it personally. Number two, if you are a member of a twin flame group and you're going to go into the twin flame group and you're in a situation with your twin flame, don't whine and bitch about what he or she is doing. Try to be an adult. Try. For some people who are adults, it's going to be very hard for you to be adults because you insist on being teenagers with all of that stupid shit belief system that you want to follow along that you're getting on some of these so-called experts up on YouTube. So, listen closely. When you find yourself in this situation and you come into a twin flame group, try this. My twin flame and I are having an issue. Or, I need some input. We are having a problem in our twin flame connection. You're talking as if it's two people, because the both of you have created the problem. It's not just him, it's not just her, it's the two of you are not communicating, and it's how you address the situation. It's not him, it's not her, we, or my twin flame and I. Try that. This is simple, folks. It's simple. The twin flame connection is not complicated. It is relatively simple. It is all the so-called experts out there that are complicating it. We are having a problem, and we need some input and advice. Watch what happens. You're going to get a different response from different people in the twin flame group, and you're not going to attract all of the other people that are just sitting there waiting for their turn to bitch and whine. My twin flame and I are having an issue. Include yourself in the problem. Don't say my twin flame is a jerk, my twin flame is being an asshole, or my twin flame is being a bitch. Because it's not just about him or her, it's about the both of you. So if you're going to work the twin flame connection and bring it to union, then talk like it's a union. We are having a problem. And then you can explain the problem from your perspective. You see, this changes the whole energetic template of what's going to come from other people. Because what I'm seeing is this, and I'm going to repeat this again in this video. If you've been in that bubble of fuzz, bubble of fuzz, I love it. Some of it is a fuzz for some. If you've been in the bubble of phase and you've created that third energy, you better damn well respect it, you better nurture it, and you better take care of it because you've been blessed and given it as a gift. And if you drag it down into the mud and shit that most of you are talking it in the way you're talking about it in these twin flame groups or in other groups, all you're doing is co-creating more of the same stuff going on between the two of you, and you're probably not going to get together at all. We are having a problem. My twin flame and I are having a problem. It's not just him, it's not just her, it's the both of you together. Does this make sense to any of you? Does it? Whatever happened to simplicity? Why is it so many of you want to complicate this process? Why? I've been here for years giving you some of the best information for free on YouTube for almost 11 years. And you still don't get it. You don't get it. My higher self, John, was right when he said the human species has the innate ability to complicate the construction of a veritable peanut butter sandwich. And it's true. It really is. So, at this particular point, don't take it personally when you and him, or him and her, or whatever combination, are getting into it. Go with the flow and do yourself another favor, all right? Find somebody. Find somebody. It can be me, if you can handle the way I address it, because you're not going to get any coddling from me. Of that you can be assured. And I can tell you one thing, there isn't anybody around who knows the twin flame connection better than I do. And I'm your go-to guy. If not me, Nicole is right there, and she's your go-to girl. We know our shit, and we know it very well. If you can't maneuver through this and communicate with the person, we can give you a grow-up talk that can clue you in how to communicate with other people. The biggest problem that I have noticed on the planet right now, okay, and this is something I want to mention just as a little sidelight here. A lot of you are going to chuckle on this one. We have become so accustomed to this thing here. See that? That's a cell phone. I finally got one. And I figured out why you're having so many problems communicating in this twin flame situation. Because there probably isn't any twin flames out there anywhere that doesn't own a cell phone. And you've spent so much time communicating on a cell phone to a name and a person you never see or never know, or diddling or whacking your thumb all day, you have no idea how to communicate anymore. That's what's happened to most of you. You don't know how to communicate with another person in a serious situation. And we've got a whole generation of you, a new generation, and they're doing the same thing. So I'm going to teach you how to communicate again. How does that sound? So when you want to learn how to communicate in a way with your twin flame, you know where I am. Or you can go to all these other hairy-fairy fluff and bullshit stuff, and you can spend months or years there. I'll be here. Remember, we are having a problem. My twin flame and I are having this issue we need some advice or counsel with. Now, doesn't that sound different? Doesn't that sound like somebody who really wants to communicate seriously with their twin flame? That sounds to me like a person who has achieved a relative state of maturity. What I'm seeing in most twin flame groups is we have a lot of people in big bodies who are not even remotely close to reaching a level of maturity, so I can see why there's more and more pressure upon the twin flame community at this particular point in time, because the gift is not waiting for you to grow up. It's going to keep slam dunking you and making it difficult for you until you learn how to communicate and talk to each other properly. That's what's going on. That's what's happening. That's what it's going to take. You've got to learn how to communicate. You've got to learn to respect the gift that's given to you. And don't take it personally. When the proverbial hits the fan, and you both start nitpicking each other, and you may have a twin flame that's really extravagant problems that are manifesting. And the reason they're manifesting is because you're triggering them and bringing them out. And he or she is doing the same to you, and it could be less in intensity, but he's the obvious choice because he's the problem. All right? One more thing I'm going to suggest that you do. All right? Just to kind of change the mindset of a lot of you. I see this all the time when in the twin flame community. And most of you are ladies, and there are a lot of men too, but mostly ladies, and they're looking for the one. They're looking for the relationship. And usually they have, based on their previous experience of relationships, they've already set up a criteria or a benchmark of all of the things that they're looking for or they want in their partner, their twin flame, their soulmate, or whatever. All right? I'm going to ask you all to do a favor for me. Throw that out. Throw out all of the things that you think you want and write this down on a piece of paper. All of the things you think you have to offer in a twin flame connection to the other person. Then take that short list of what you think you have to offer and compare it with the other list of what you think you want from the other person, and you're going to find a big, big inequality. So if one side is short and the other side is real long, that's an imbalance of masculine and feminine. And until you get the masculine and feminine in balance with yourself, first, you're not going to get it in balance with your twin flame. And that's all I got to say on this one. If that doesn't sink in, then I'm wasting my breath. Have a great day, everyone. Love you all.